dudes reviews. 5 dudes reviews. 5 dudes reviews. 5 dudes reviews.
All right, how's everybody feeling tonight? Feeling like a little bit of rock and roll music? We're talking about our top 5 favorite rock frontmen of all time. Here's our rockin' theme song. Hit it.
5 dudes reviews. 5 dudes reviews. 5 dudes reviews. 5 dudes reviews.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the 5 Dudes Reviews podcast. Tonight we are talking about our favorite rock and roll frontmen, and also it could be front women. Anybody who commands the stage, they have a presence, they rock out, they control the band. Anybody who has swagger, the Motzi, you know, the guy who everybody looks to, the leader. Guys, you know, what do you consider qualities of being a great frontman?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said all of the above. I would say zero inhibition, truly lets loose, leaves it all on the stage. It's just kind of like having total freedom and confidence on the stage to control a crowd. You have total control to have this crowd sing every lyric to your songs with you. It's pretty amazing.
Confidence for sure.
Lots of confidence, yeah, for sure.
Presence.
The crowd, what Brad just said, for sure.
Yeah.
Being able to control the crowd and the crowd's energy, and that's, I think, definitely one of the biggest
There's a
factors I was
definite
looking
like
at.
Fearlessness to like a great frontman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're all obviously like film and, you know, movie fans, but to me, like, there's nothing like going to a concert and seeing a band, you know, more importantly, I guess, like a rock band that just, man, it's just so exciting, exhilarating, and there's just nothing else like it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Henry Rollins was interviewed in a LA Weekly article, and they asked him what makes a great frontman. And he said, a great frontman is someone you can't imagine doing anything else. These are guys who are just born to be in that spot. Sadly, many of them never get there. There's too many average talents that spend way too much time there when they would be better off if they had to, you know, quit their day job. But,
yeah, I mean, can you imagine like Glenn Danzig like bagging your groceries at Ralph's?
Yeah.
Or like Motorhead, like Lemmy from Motorhead, like as a mailman.
Yeah.
Walking your window.
Yeah, definitely they're born into that. Like, you can't, it's like natural for them, you know what I mean?
yeah, the thing is, like, you don't have to be a great singer to be a great frontman. You just have to have like moxie, like that special style,
that swagger.
Star quality.
Presence.
Yeah, to me, it's actually more about that. I mean, if you have a great voice, what a bonus. But yeah, it's more about the feel and the personality and the confidence.
Confidence. Well, let's go ahead and kick it in. My number 5. You know, I like frontmen who have a little bit of danger to them. You know, guys who are very unpredictable. You know, and I've seen this person twice. Once with his original band, once with a hybrid of a band that he was in. And my number 5 choice for the best frontman of all time is Iggy Pop.
Right.
You know, Iggy was a guy with the Stooges who, you know, they were a young punk band out of Detroit, and they were, you know, Iggy commands a stage. I mean, the guy is fearless. I mean, he's cut himself on stage. He jumps out in the crowd. I mean, the guy, you know, he's got great dance moves. But I mean, he is, you know, not the greatest singer in the world, but he doesn't have to be. Yeah. He's a great front man, and I figure like he's so hardened. Like when you see his face now, the way he's aged, like he just looks rock and roll. Like you couldn't see that guy being like a grocery clerk somewhere. Like he was meant for the stage, and every time, the 2 times I've seen him, like he definitely controlled the stage, and that's what a front man does, is they have that sense of control, and the audience just like looks to them to lead them into what's going to happen for the night. He's great.
I love that he always performs, even at his age now, without his shirt on.
He looks great too, man. Like that dude is in serious shape, man.
Yep.
I kind of feel like
super lean.
I kind of feel like Anthony Kiedis took a page out of that book. You know, he's like, no
For sure
shirt.
he did.
Yeah.
Super lean, just
That's a good
fucking just
one.
rocking on stage. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him for the first time when he reunited with the Stooges at the Wiltern, and man, like the whole crowd was like a mosh pit, and he jumped in it. And I'm like, this guy is at least like he's in his probably his 60s at that time, and he jumped into the crowd like this whirling mosh pit, and I was good for him, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you
no
know,
beer.
Take those osteoporosis pills. You're good.
and I saw him a couple years ago when he did the Josh Homme like post pop depression, and like he sounds pretty good as a singer.
Yeah.
Like he's still doing his thing, and like he's one of these guys who the younger guys try to do collaborate with because he's such an icon, and we're losing icons left and right. I mean, it's a terrible thing that these guys are getting older. We're getting older, but you see these guys while you can because they don't make them like you don't see Iggy Pop's coming up in the younger generation. You don't.
It's definitely true.
No one like anything like that now.
Yeah, it's sad.
Not even close.
No.
Yeah, it's weird. I can't think of one recognizable up and coming talent where I'm going to think like, oh man, they're going to be an icon 50 years from now.
No.
10 years from now.
Very true.
Yeah, no one is at all like has that.
Well, nobody
or like
nobody to me is nobody's dangerous anymore.
Except for that like boy band out of China.
Oh yes,
What?
Like they're very dangerous.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right, Brad, number 5.
5-1, baby. 1 and 5. Number 5, the Lizard King, Jim Morrison.
Nice.
What was so interesting about Jim Morrison was like he started out as like this weird, shy lead singer who would turn his back to the crowd and just sing to the drum kit, and then he ends up boozing and getting arrested, and he's
My hero.
Yeah, he's the Lizard King. I mean, I'll be honest, like I don't listen to the Doors, like God, like I can't tell you the last time I listened to the Doors, but like I love and respect like what he did for that time and what for music to follow. I mean, I feel like he kind of paved the way for like punk rock and like those lead singers and the aggression
it's definitely like one of the earlier, like if you want to say bad boys of music.
Yeah.
Took the word right out of my mouth. Definitely, dude.
Well, I mean, I feel like
it was like kind of edgy and took it to the next level.
Well, a lot of these guys, you go to the shows to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so fun is they're unpredictable, and he goes off on rambles and the band just jams and just plays and
he's going off on a tangent, dude. Yeah.
He did what he wanted to do. Because, like, when the whole famous story where they went on the Ed Sullivan show and he told them, can't say hi, can't say it. And like when they go on, he like looks at the camera and purposely like says it louder.
Very
like
dangerous.
that was just like right there was like exactly how he was. He was like, fuck what everyone's telling me to do. I'm going to do what I want to do.
And for that time, that was pretty big, man.
He had no inhibitions at all. Like he was just climbing the rafters, and I'm sure
he did what he wanted to do.
Pharmaceutically, enhanced.
So he recorded 6 total albums with the Doors. A lot of their hit songs, "Light My Fire," obviously, "Break On Through," "The End," "Moonlight Drive," "People Are Strange." Like I said, I like the Doors. It's not, I don't know, like in one of my favorite bands of all time, but just like what he did.
One of my favorites.
Obviously, like that Val Kilmer performance is amazing.
It is.
It's just good music and
Morrison. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's just good music. I mean, I like the Doors. It's not a go-to band I usually go to, but for like a lead man, like a lead singer, like he's up there for sure.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Yeah,
I am the Lizard King
because he was a musician. He was also like a poet. So I always like he had more. He had a lot going on in his head. It wasn't just like about like.
Have you ever listened? Have you ever listened to those albums where it's just him like talking poetry?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Doors fan, but some of that poetry is like bullshit. Like it's not good.
Yeah. I would say the Doors are one of my favorite bands of all time. Like I grew up listening to them.
Yeah.
I love them. Like.
Well, like I don't know how much Jack Daniels he drank when he was doing that poetry.
Yeah, a little bit of
probably a lot.
Daniels and some LSD.
Yeah.
Peyote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, supposedly he was like he had tripped acid before he did that Hollywood Bowl show. That's why he was so animated.
Yeah. Number 5, Jim Morrison.
All right. Ted, number 5.
My number 5, I'm going to show my metal roots. I'm a metal dude. This one's King Diamond from the band Merciful Fate. He's a Danish singer. He hypes up the crowd with like a Danish accent. It's really funny, but his vocals are like top notch, like almost operatic. If you haven't heard about this, I've talked about the band before. Their first album, Melissa, had the goat head skeleton that was on fire. That was like, had the streaks coming out of it. But I love this band. I love his body of work. He went on to do a solo career with an amazing solo band. And then he's kind of come back and done reunions with Merciful Fate. And he's still going. He had a heart attack, I want to say 5 years ago. And he lives in Texas now. And the guy's still going strong. My friend Brett and I went to go see them at the Wiltern. I want to say it was about 5 years ago. So right when he was coming back. And there was kind of some concern about his vocals. But he is such a theatrical guy. He has like the black and white paint, less kabuki and more like a cult. So he has he has an upside down cross on his forehead because he supposedly has a fascination with the occult. So, but I love him. If you haven't ever heard his vocals, it's just amazing.
What kind of metal is the band?
I would say it's like. It's not death metal. It's probably early thrash metal or like
thrash
power metal.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I don't know their work.
I agree with Brett. Like I've heard of them and I've seen some of their artwork for their albums, but I don't know them.
I don't know them, but what I appreciate is Ted's very excited and upbeat tonight. I'm loving this.
Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to step it up from last time. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, and I'm going to give you a little impersonation of the king, King Diamond. Okay, here goes. Ready? Right. Come into my haunted house.
That is worth the price of admission.
It sounded like an opera singer
this
getting possessed by. I don't.
Sounded like my ex-wife every time I came home from work.
So go on to YouTube and check out The King Diamond.
There you go.
All right.
Excellent.
Sounds great. Brett, number 5.
My number 5, lead singer and bassist of the 3-man band The Police is Sting.
Oh, nice.
Lead singer for The Police from 1977 to 1986 when they broke up. Born Gordon Sumner. The Police are one of my favorite bands of all time, and being able to see Sting perform once when they did the reunion tour in 2007, he's one of those guys that just really commands the crowd, like has everybody captivated looking at the stage. And he's one of those guys. He's not like I wouldn't say he's not a bad boy at all, but he definitely has that the power to like just when he speaks, you listen. So and he's a badass. He's been in tons of movies and knows how to act. And The Police, I mean, they're a great band. I mean, for me, they're one of my favorites. So Sting's always been one of my favorites. So, and real quick trivia, his nickname came from when he was first up and coming before they got big. He'd wear a black and yellow sweater, and all his friends thought he looked like a bee or a wasp, so they started calling him Sting.
Oh, funny.
I've read interviews where no one calls him by his name Gordon, like his family, his kids, everyone calls him Sting. Like
that's a great nickname. Yeah, for rock.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I love The Police, and like I've really lately like started like doing deep dives on Sting because I love like Tim Sumner's Tales and Soul Cages and albums like that. Like I got a chance to see him when he toured with Paul Simon about 4 or 5 years ago, and dude, that was such a great tour. And like I got much respect for like a lead guy who plays bass. Like that is not an easy thing to do.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's rare. You don't see that too often. But he's a good, he's a good singer, good frontman. He's a good musician too. Like he's got good musicianship skills.
Got to have those skills, bro.
Didn't he just do an album with Shaggy though?
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah, he just did an album with Shaggy. When I saw it, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. I saw him on some. I saw him on some Disney Christmas special recently too.
That's interesting.
I mean, he's got great stuff, man. There's a man, I mean, there's a video online where Annie Lennox did a Fragile at like a award ceremony for Sting, and man, it'll make you cry. It's so good. I mean, like when you hear songs like that, I know he performed it like on September 11th, like he was in London or something, and he had just heard about the attacks, and he performed that song, and man, it's heartbreaking to hear that song. Like you write songs like that, like great songs. He's a great songwriter. The Police are amazing. I'm jealous I didn't get it. For some reason I did not go see that reunion tour. Maybe they'll do it again at some point.
I wish I would have seen the one at I think Brett saw this. I wish I would have seen the one at Dodger Stadium with the Foo
That's
Fighters.
one I saw.
Me too.
I'm not a huge, yeah. I'm not a huge Standard Police fan, but why wasn't the Don't Stand So Close to Me not like an anthem for the pandemic we just are going through?
So true.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder how much money he makes off that Puff Daddy song every time it plays.
A lot.
Geez. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Sting's a solid choice, man. Let's go with George, number 5.
Number 5, it's already been mentioned by Brad, and it's the Lizard King himself, Jim Morrison.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Brad. Everything pretty much what he said.
Twofer.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for that era, dude. It was pretty rare when someone was they were kind of like a bad boy. Kind of. I think the only one that would come close, and that's because of the stuff that he did was Elvis, where they were like, you can't do that kind of dance and this and that. And Jim Morrison kind of did the same thing, where he would do whatever he wanted, like go on stage.
It's pretty unheard of at that time.
Yeah, it was pretty big, man. Yeah, I remember growing up listening to him and then watching obviously the movie with Val Kilmer, which is really awesome. And yeah, great singer, great front man. Just had all that, just the presence, just walking on stage and doing his thing, and again commanding the crowd. Pretty much what Brad said earlier, and for that, he's my number 5.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, really good. I don't know what to add to that, but it's really good.
You really can, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Number 4 for me is another guy I actually got to see twice, although I really didn't, in my opinion, get to experience the full force of this person. He coined the phrase, "I'm a Lizzie Bop."
Ooh, nice.
David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
I got to see Van Halen in the reincarnated Van Halen with Wolfgang, not the Michael Anthony Van Halen. And man, like David Lee Roth, I don't think has ever been known as a great lead singer. Like he's definitely a front man. Like when you think of front man, I feel like his face will probably pop up because he is like, he's got ego. He knows how to flaunt it. He knows the ladies are there. Like he knows that he's a showman. He's doing like karate and swinging swords on stage, I mean, but like early David Lee Roth and Van Halen must have kicked so much ass back in the day. Like all their early shit is amazing, and I wish I could have seen them like jump off in the 80s because I mean, and they were like probably in the 80s, like one of the earliest like huge bands to do videos. All their videos are iconic when they had the like Jump, Hot for Teacher, Panama. I mean, like the guy he has it. He's a front man.
Definitely.
I agree.
Ever tell you the story of one of our friends who we used to work with? He was in a bar in the early 80s, dark, dusty, like seedy bar. He said somebody put a quarter in the jukebox, Jump came on. He goes, dude, it was like a scene out of a movie. It's like, Jump comes on, the door opens, the light comes in, everyone turns around, squinting their eyes from the bar, and it's David Lee Roth standing there. He's like, hey! like perfect timing. This dude walks into this bar in Hollywood.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I knew another buddy of mine who said he saw him. He went to go to Cheetahs in L.A. and he went to the bathroom and like somebody was definitely playing with nose candy in the bathroom, and out of the stall walks David Lee Roth. He's like, "What's up, man?" Yep.
I heard he was a fan of that place.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I feel like David Lee Roth could teach like frontman school. Like, sure. I mean, he had all the moves covered. Like, and he was also probably, I at that time, I feel like one of the most like biggest breakups was Van Halen, and that all went like on TV, like MTV covered it, and then he went solo, and he had a pretty successful solo career. For a little bit, and now he's back, and who knows what's going on. But I mean, that dude is he's still to this day is like, he's over the top ego maniac,
Yeah.
Have you seen his tattoo suit?
No.
Look it up.
Really?
It's insane, dude. Like George has a sleeve. This dude's got a suit. It's
Really?
insane.
Wow.
From like the neck down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he moved to Japan, I think, and studied with a
I think he's a samurai.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's a samurai.
Like, remember when he became like a ambulance nurse
he was it was like an EMT.
Yeah, like he's lived a bunch of lives, you know.
Dude, go back and listen to. I think it's Joe Rogan podcast. It's he rambles and goes off on his own things, but man, what an interesting guy.
Yeah,
definitely.
That dude probably.
Me too. Van Halen, like the band. I never liked the Sammy Hagar years, but to me,
How dare
Van
you?
Halen, it's the David Lee Roth era.
You need to go David Lee Roth for sure, but yeah, Hagar's okay.
I mean, I really like that last Van Halen album they did.
That's my number one.
I thought it was really good.
Terrible.
Sammy Hagar's my number one.
Oh no!
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
This is where we end the podcast.
All right, Brad, number 4.
My number 4 is a Gen X icon. He's considered to be one of the most influential and iconic rock stars of rock history, I guess you'd say. Kurt Cobain.
Nice.
Kurt Cobain. I just feel like this guy wasn't your typical. At this time, it was hair bands and like all the like Sunset Boulevard like crazy hairband stuff going on, and he just cut through all the BS. And it's like, hey, we're who we are. It felt like one of us at that time, if we were that age, could have. Well, we're not as talented as what he did, but like. Just felt like relatable that he was able to do something like that. That this is like someone around our age, or
yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't, right. It wasn't like David Lee Roth jumping in the air with sequin dresses on. It was a dude in clothes we would wear with a guitar and like just no gimmick, basically.
Yep. Rocking no blouses, dude. Straight up flannel.
No blouses.
It was
crazy. I'm always jealous, man. I mean, like they came out and I never got a chance to see them. Obviously, they never played Arkansas. I mean, but
I think the closest they came was Memphis and Dallas, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, like that guy, like they put on great shows. I mean, dude, Kurt Cobain and Kirk Novacek, and then Dave Grohl. I mean, like that's pretty all-star lineup right there. Like Novacek. I call him, what did I say? Novacek?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the football player? Jay Novacek?
Yeah, it was
from Ace Ventura?
For the Cowboys.
I thought it was a dude from Ace Ventura.
Yeah, man. I'm so jealous. I wish I could have seen those guys. I love all their albums. I mean,
well, what I think is cool is like you went from like Bleach and Nevermind to you did one of probably the best MTV Unplugged of all time, which it almost didn't happen. Yeah. And they got it together within like the final hours, and the guy's wearing a cardigan. It's like it's just such a cool like low key moment, and it was beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it became so iconic.
Yeah.
I remember watching MTV. MTV had finally come into Brooklyn, and it was like 1990 or something like that. And I remember watching Trickster on a video, and I was like, God, this is so stale. It's such a duplication of a duplication, and everybody was doing the same style of music. So when Nirvana came around, it was such a breath of fresh air. It was so cool just to kind of get out all that old stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, who gave that interview where they were like they heard Nirvana and they were like, oh shit, like we're done? Was it like Bret Michaels or somebody?
No, it was Janie Lane from Warrant.
There you go.
Do you guys remember the first time you saw that Smells Like Teen Spirit music video and just that first guitar riff? Yep. I was like, what the hell is this? This is amazing.
I went I think a week or two right after that. I went out and bought the CD. I was just like, who the fuck is this? This is amazing.
Dude, go on YouTube. They played like a German TV show where they were like, we're gonna you can't play your instruments. So they were like, oh, we can't play your instruments. Oh, okay. And they fucked it up royally, and it was amazing.
They mouth it and like air guitar and drum it. It really is amazing.
What year was that? Was that like before that, like 88, 89? Like,
no, it was like 93, 94.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he died in April 94. So yeah, it was like probably 93, 94.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was like when they're at their peak then.
And like he's got this really low voice that's like, it's so good. So great. Yeah.
I always wonder if he hadn't died, like do you think they still would be together right now, or you think they would have broken up?
I mean, I think the rumor was that like he was going to break up the band. I mean, I think he had said at one point, he's like, I can see myself as Johnny Cash down the road and just like, doing like his own acoustic guitar shows or whatever. I mean, I think eventually if they did break up, they would have gotten back together. Like, look at what Coachella does to bring people back, but no telling what that guy could have done with his talent. And look who else.
That sucks.
Well, here's another thought though. Do you think that sometimes it's better to burn out than to like
fade away?
Suck?
Well, I think it's burn out than to fade away, which I think he actually wrote in a suicide note.
Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, because maybe he would have released like a techno album or something.
Oh,
and everybody would have been like, oh, fuck that guy.
I think in hindsight, I think it is better to see someone like that go out on top. But at the moment, at the moment in time when it's going on, when it's happening, you want to see more. And,
you want to hear more.
It sucks when they like die.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sad because you have someone who obviously had like some health issues going on, and people say like, "Oh, well, you throw yourself into that spotlight," and it's like, well, at the end of the day, like you're a talent and you write music and you want to perform and play for people. You have no control that you're going to become this huge and popular, and I think he was starting to back away from that a little bit.
Yeah, he always said he didn't want to be famous. Like that wasn't what he wanted. Like he didn't like being in the limelight or like.
But yet he did a lot of interviews.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Think about how shitty that whole scene. Like what happened to like the Pearl Jam's basically the only one that's around anymore. Like Alice in Chains, the guy killed himself. Nirvana, Soundgarden. Like a lot of those bands, their lead singers are gone. Like there's not anybody.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, most of them.
One time he was quoted as saying, "I never wanted to sing. I just wanted to play rhythm guitar and hide in the background and just play."
Yeah, I don't think he liked the limelight. Like he was an introvert.
So. Yeah, you could definitely tell he was. Yeah, he was introverted for sure.
He was also a big Smithereens fan, and I'm a huge Smithereens fan, and just want to give a shout out to the Smithereens because they're an awesome band that a lot of people don't even know exists.
Crickets.
All right, Ted, number 4.
My number 4 is Ronnie James Dio. Metal. He died about 10 years ago, but he was a great frontman that could really work the crowd. He was in several bands, including his own band, Dio. He formed a band called Elf. That was his original band. He was also a frontman in Black Sabbath. Some of my favorite songs are Rainbow in the Dark, Heaven and Hell, Holy Diver, Last in Line, We Rock, Egypt, The Chains Are On. I just loved him as a frontman. I actually saw him. That was my first rock concert. That was 1983 at Madison Square Garden. So that was just an amazing show.
Nice. And wasn't he like 4 feet tall?
Yeah, he was a short guy, but super powerful voice, and ran around the stage. Just an awesome, contributor to metal history. I think if you ask any fan of metal, they'll he's of the top frontmen for sure in that genre.
Have you been to his? Go ahead.
I can't believe he's been dead. You said for 10 years already. It doesn't seem like it's
2010.
Wow.
I swear it feels like it's only been like 5 years.
Yeah.
Have you been to his I think they had like a memorial to him like at the LA gravesite at the what's the LA LA Forever Cemetery?
Oh no.
Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
I think they have like a monument for him down there.
Cool. I have not, but I need to do that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about pipes. That dude had pipes for sure.
Hey Ted.
Yeah.
Did they ever do? I don't know. They were discussing at one point doing a hologram of him.
Yeah.
Did they ever do that live?
No.
I know. Yeah, look that up. I know that was like on the thing that they were going to do. I guess.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but then I didn't hear anything going through. But I'll look that up for sure. That'd have been really fun.
So it would have been the same thing they did for didn't they do that with like Tupac at like Coachella?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that last reunion tour with Sabbath, which I'm kicking myself in the ass for, but I did get to see him. So
Again, I say this, like, go see the people when they tour again, especially when we get to see live shows again. Like, go see these people, man. Like, you don't want to kick yourself and be like, I should have seen them. Like, you had a chance.
There's a lot of guys though that I am kicking myself I never saw and I had a chance.
Yeah. I miss concerts.
Tenacious D has some pretty good Ronnie James Dio songs. So they had that one.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yes, a tribute.
Remember he jumps out of the poster in the movie?
Yeah, right.
That's great. The Pick of Destiny.
Such a great scene.
Yeah. He always kind of, to me, he kind of looked like the lead singer of the Scorpions. They both had that like curly hair look.
Yeah,
you know?
Kind of like a receding hairline, but like mullet thing going on. But, yep. So
Very
that's my number 4, Ronnie James Dio.
Nice, Brett 4.
All right, my number 4. No one's mentioned him yet. He's got to be coming up soon though. It's going to be on our list.
Right now,
number 4. It's Scott Weiland, lead singer of
I am. I said
Revolver.
Nice.
Yeah. I really wanted to place him higher, and part of me is thinking he probably could have or should have, but he ended up. I guess there's stiff competition on this list. He ended up as my number 4, but
so good.
STP again. All these frontmen so far are like the frontmen are like my favorite bands, and STP is one of my all-time favorite rock bands. And so I was fortunate enough to see him 3 times before he died. And one of his most famous concert footage incidents was at Weenie Roast, I think in 2001, Irvine Meadows, and some jackass threw a water bottle, and it hit. I can't remember if it hit him or it landed like right next to him, and Scott Weiland proceeded to go on a rant like for 5 minutes, just going off on the guy. And the crowd got so riled up, like amped up, like you could feel the hairs on your neck sticking straight up. It was just and from that point on, the rest of the show, like the rest of their set, STP set, was just, it was insane. Like the crowd was just like, it was so loud, and the energy, it was just, that's probably one of my favorite single moments, like live concerts that I've ever experienced. But Scott Weiland, I mean, it sucks that he died way too young, you know. It's been 5 years already, almost, since he died of a accidental overdose. But I feel like he's one of those guys that, you know, there was a lot more left in him, and it's a shame that we're never going to get to see what, you know, what he still had left in his tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately, like, you know, substance abuse probably ran in his family because his brother, I think, passed away too.
Yep,
from the same issue. But man, like, yeah, like seeing this guy live was so exciting and so fun. I know George is a huge fan.
Oh, I love this. Oh,
George, do you not like Scott Weiland?
Not really. I don't know, something about his voice.
That's a no.
You know what? I get that, and I also get, like, some people have the same feeling towards Eddie Vedder. I like both of them, but I understand it.
I don't know.
Do you remember when STP first came out, Brad? Like, a lot of people were calling him like Eddie Vedder clone.
Well, I kind of thought, like, those early videos too, he's kind of like ripped, and, like, you know, he's like rocking towards the mic, like towards the camera. I was like, is this like a frat band? Like, but yeah, I do remember that people saying that they were kind of like a grunge ripoff. Yeah. But to me, like, wasn't for me, and obviously
no, it wasn't for me either.
Yeah, direction of the band either.
Man, I never not liked them. Well, from the get-go, I thought that they were really good. Like, and I think that the only album I did not like was that last one they released as a band. I didn't like it. But I mean, I thought all their albums were solid. And like, yeah, Brad and I got to see them at the Bowl. They were amazing. They rocked the shit out of the place. And then Brad and I also saw him Velvet Revolver twice. Yeah, and they were really. He's a great front man. I mean, the guy he can move, he can sing, he controls the stage, he qualifies, he hits all the checkpoints. I mean, you're right. He just died too soon.
He's a good songwriter too.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I like the stuff.
What Brad was saying, like, about their music. You know, at first people were writing them off as just being a grunge clone, but like, I think that quickly got erased when their second album came out. Like when Purple came out.
Yeah,
you're like, oh shit, these guys are actually really good musicians, and they know how to write good lyrics. Like they're actually good. You know, they aren't just a clone of, like, you know, trying to like catch the, you know, the sales of like someone else, like, and ride the grunge wave.
Yeah, me too. I didn't feel that.
And Tiny Music, I think they just they progressed. I love
Tiny
Music. Was Yeah, me too. I think that's my favorite actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, they in some ways it sounds stupid because they were so big, but in a lot of ways I think they were kind of underrated in that respect.
Yeah.
I think their big hits are all the rock, like the real heavy rock like anthems. But when you listen to their actual full albums, there's a lot of good music writing in there and like good
What's your
lyrics.
favorite song?
Yeah, and I saw the latest incarnation of STP at a club in LA, and like I just wish they would stop. Like just let a thing die. I mean, don't ruin it.
What's your lead singer's gone? Give it up. Brett, what's your favorite STP song?
That is hard for me to answer, but I'm gonna say it's probably. I love Sour Girl from number 4.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, man.
I love Dead and Bloated.
Atlanta from number 4 is also another really good one.
It's great. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go with one of their biggest hits, and it's Interstate Love Song. Like to me, like that song is timeless. It will never ever not like mean something to me as far as like I remember where I was in my life, like at that point, and like it all will be like I imagine being like 70 years old driving down the street and that being on the oldies channel, me being like, oh, I remember that. That's a good one.
I mean, even that song from The Crow, that Big Empty song's great.
Great. My favorite song is
from Cores. I love too.
Yeah.
My favorite song is Lady Picture Show today. I mean, like I every single day probably changes. I mean, I love that band.
Oh, I just thought of another song I love real quick. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. There's a song from Tiny Music, and I can't remember the actual. I don't think the name of the song is this, but the chorus is like "Campfire Girls Make Me Feel All Right." Remember that one? It's real quiet and laid back.
Yeah, it's a really good song. Yeah,
I love that song. It's not it's not your typical STP. Like it's not heavy or anything, but just really good lyrics and music.
Is there a song off that record that has like a bossa nova feel? I love that song. It doesn't sound
from Tiny Music.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it might be even called bossa nova.
Is it called And So I Know?
And So I Know. That's it. I think that might be my favorite one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, good song.
Yeah, Big Bang Baby. That's a good one too.
Great. Love the video too.
Well, let's go to George since he loves this topic. He can't wait to get to this topic. George, number 4.
Oh, my number 4 isn't as good as Brett's number 4. Pretty darn close. Is the lead singer of Kiss, Gene Simmons.
Oh, nice.
Whoa. Is lead singer of Kiss not Paul Stanley?
Yeah, he is, but I would still say he's kind of a front man too, though.
I agree.
Kiss is like the Beatles. They had 2 frontmen, like Paul and John were kind of both co-leads.
It's like Millie and Vanilli.
Oh,
wow.
So yeah, I'd say Gene Simmons is kind of like a co-lead
to me. But for some reason, Gene Simmons to me stands out more. Just his aggressive, just blood and fit, and just his outfit and just everything about him is. It's like a comic book villain come to life, dude.
Definitely.
And his voice may not be the greatest, but he commands that like just fucking presence on the stage. You know what I mean?
I love his voice.
I agree with George. I think Paul Stanley could kind of like prance around the stage too much, whereas like Gene Simmons is spitting blood in your face.
Yep.
Yeah, he's sitting there just fucking
the demon.
Exactly.
He sings that song "God of Thunder." Dude, that's an awesome song, and he is the God of Thunder.
He's also Dr. Love.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
great song.
It's crazy because you always see Paul Stanley getting all the the accolades and everything, and it's to me in my eyes I would see more Gene Simmons being the front guy. To me, just the whole thing commanding the president stage, the blood, the fire in the background, his boots, like the guy's got everything. You know what I mean?
Shoulder pads.
The wig.
I'll tell you what, man. I've seen Kiss in concert a handful of times, and like you will always focus on Gene Simmons. Like the guy commands presence, and like he's somebody you're watching, and like he's a beast on stage.
He wears dragons. He wears dragons on his boots. I mean, come on.
I focus on Gene Simmons and the nearest exit door.
And it's funny because I've only seen him once, and it was more the theatrics and the stage show than the actual music. I mean, some of their songs are pretty good, but for me, it's more like the show. You're there for the show.
I agree. It's like if comic book rock stars came to life.
Exactly. And hey, they have their own comic book line. They got action figures. They got fucking shot glasses. Like these guys are like heavily marketed. but it's something about Gene Simmons, dude. It's like he's like a horror villain. He's like a like I said, like a comic book villain come to life.
It's everything we like.
Hey.
Yep.
And his daughter's hot.
Ooh, yes. Sophie Simmons.
So yeah, number 4 for me is Gene Simmons.
Well, number 3 for me is it's a repeat. This is the third time this person has been mentioned. It's the Lizard King himself, Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
I became like obsessed with the Doors in like 7th grade, and I never looked back. Like I love the Doors. I really love Jim Morrison. Like I have so many DVDs of the Doors and books, and just like I'm obsessed with it. I read No One Here Gets Out Alive. I read the book that Krieger wrote. Like, man, I love the mythology behind them. I know a lot of it's bullshit, and a lot of people like think they sound like a band that would play a Holiday Inn, and I get it. Like sometimes they sound a little hokey, but I love them, man, and they're so, to me, like I in that era, like there's not a lot of, I didn't like a lot of bands, but like just some of the stuff they were doing, like The End and songs like that were just so groundbreaking.
It was cutting edge, dude, and it was, like you said, it was definitely groundbreaking.
Yeah, for
sure. I mean, dude, like go back and watch Lost Boys, and without People Are Strange, it's not the same movie. It's just such a cool tone to that movie with that Doors song in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like I love the fact, I love it. Like there was a time when Morrison, he got in trouble for indecent exposure, which he said he put his finger out of his pants. He didn't pull his wiener out, and he got basically banned from doing shows. And like a lot of people wouldn't book him, and so they did another album, and then they did a show on PBS called The Soft Parade, and that's my favorite album of theirs. Is kind of when they were shunned from basically the industry, and I think it's a great piece, and there's a lot of stuff in there that's great, and I love bearded, sunglasses wearing Morrison towards the end, like fat Morrison. I love it, and man, they're a great band, and like if you want a lead singer in a band, this is the guy you want. The guy who's the oddball, the guy who's he's dangerous. You don't know what he's gonna do, and the guy was a shaman, and he commanded attention, and he got it. He's still getting it. I mean, like you don't see a lot of people getting still like attention years and years after their death. I mean, that's a very rare thing. So there's got to be something about the band, and that's why he's so relevant.
Yeah,
he's the epitome of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
That's the thing, man. It's like the leather pants. He was a sexy dude. He had a great attitude and swagger.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Did he start the 27 Club? Was he the first 27-year-old who died? Because I know
he was
27. Okay. To him and Joplin and Hendrix, and then you had I think Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain was 27.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What was 33?
That poster? You've seen that poster, right?
33 was Belushi and Farley, right?
Maybe. Yeah, you may be right.
Sure.
I don't know.
Have you guys seen the poster though? It's old now. It's from like the late 90s, I think.
What is it?
It's like it's a painting. It's a bar, like a tavern, dark tavern.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And they're all sitting in there, and then I think Kurt Cobain's walking in the door, like entering.
Wow.
And like Jim Morrison, Hendrix, Joplin are like sitting at the bar already there, like drinking.
That's crazy.
And it has like a number 27 above the doorway. It's a really cool poster.
I've always wanted to go visit his. He's one of the most famous grave sites out there. Like I've always wanted to go. Like, I guess Paris, but like I guess it's been so vandalized over the years that like I don't even know if you can get close to it now. Like there's guards there now.
It's also hard to find. It's in the middle of a huge it's like a maze. The cemetery. Yeah. It's really hard to find it.
Not a gate, but like a fencing around it now. Like you can't even get anywhere near it. It's been vandalized so many times.
When my brother and I
on it and stuff.
My brother and I went up to Seattle. We visited Hendrix's gravesite. It's outside of Seattle, like 5 minutes away, and like it was just no one there. And it was really cool to visit and go, see, 27 Club, baby.
Icon.
Brad, number 3.
My number 3. I'll be honest. I've seen this guy live a few times, and there's nothing like the presence and energy of William Bailey.
What?
You talking about Jimmy Stewart's character in It's a Wonderful Life?
No, this was his real name. Bailey, William Bailey, Axl Rose.
Oh! Definitely a good one.
W. Axl Rose.
A little low, but okay.
I think somebody said something about Dangerous earlier. Back in the day, man. I mean, who can you think of that he would drop a microphone and say, "Security, I'm out of here." And I mean, in St. Louis, they had riots. Because they wouldn't play their shows.
Yep.
That dude
did not give a fuck, dude.
No, he didn't. I mean, I don't call it ego, call it perfectionism, call it controlling. I don't know. Like, he's an incredible talent. I know people love and hate Guns N' Roses. I love them. I remember the first time I got to see them. Billy and I went to Universal Amphitheater in Los Angeles on, it was like the newer Guns N' Roses, and we were pit, and like I couldn't believe that like the lights were still down, and he walked out, and I was like, Billy, dude, there's Axl Rose. Like, we were both like, oh my God. It's like, it just felt like such a larger than life character at the time. Just like watching, he doesn't do it he still does, I guess now he's trimmed down, but like watching him run from one end to the other of the stage, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just like the energy that guy had, like back in the Use Your Illusion days, like, he'd wear like those whitey tighties and like that half microphone stand, and just like, man, that to me is like a rock star, like a front man that you've just never seen before.
Yeah. And I get angry lately because I feel like Guns N' Roses are lopped into this category with a few other bands that do not need to be lopped into the category of hair metal, because I don't. I do not consider Guns N' Roses hair metal. Like, that's fucking rock and roll. Like, hair metal, there is hair metal, and there's like other bands who do not need to be lopped in that category. Yeah, Guns N' Roses, when they came out, Guns N' Roses kicked ass. It's almost like the Nirvana. When the Nirvana came out, there was a reckoning. Guns N' Roses was a reckoning, and they kicked ass.
I thought they transcended that, that genre of like, glam rock, or, I mean, they were compared to like Aerosmith in the beginning, but it's just good rock and roll to me.
I mean, dude, they cover. I mean, if you listen to like Live Like a Suicide and like Lies, like they covered Aerosmith. Like, I have no problem with that, but like, I have problems with like the Rat and like those early, like, the hair metal bands. Like, if you look at Appetite on the back, like, like they teased their hair, like that was the sign of the times. But like Billy said, like, put on Appetite now and it holds up, man. It's it's like Black Crowes. Like, they're just a great rock band.
Yeah. I love the Guns records. I still love the Guns records.
It's timeless.
And like, they did like crazy stuff. Like, Don't Cry was what, like 10 minutes long? November Rain was 10 minutes. Like, Estranged is like 15 minutes. These like epic songs.
Right.
Like, he was very ambitious. And like, the Chinese Democracy was like, what, 20 years in the making? It finally came out.
Right.
And
which, honestly, like, I know people hate that. I do think it's underrated. Like, if you go back and listen to that, there's some good stuff on Chinese Democracy.
Yep.
Like, I know one thing for Axl Rose is Freddie Mercury was like one of his idols, and I think that's kind of like those long epic songs were kind of what Queen did, and I feel like he kind of like took a page out of that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we saw him at Dodger Stadium, and like one thing I noticed, he would keep running backstage. He would disappear in between some of the songs, and while the band was playing, and I was like, is that a choice to like showcase the people on stage, or is he just like going to get oxygen?
Is it oxygen? Is it a costume change? Like, I know Mick Jagger does like a ton of costume changes, but Axl, it's more like, is he just going to like hang out for a little bit? I don't know, but like, man, like when he is on that stage, that's the only guy you're watching.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Yeah.
I mean, Axl Rose. I mean, like, and I love now that he's like woke on Twitter. Like, he's like blasting Trump on the administration. Like, he's like, fuck these guys.
Fight with the Treasury secretary.
Yeah, good for him, man. We need somebody like Axl to fucking punk some of these dudes down. Like, he'll probably show up at the White House.
I mean, you guys were talking about go see these guys now and all that. Like, I honestly wish I would have seen him fronting AC/DC. He's got a killer voice for AC/DC.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool tour.
I don't want to do another.
Say again?
Was he trying? Was that something like he was trying to do, or
no? He toured with that last tour. Because the guy, their lead singer's has hearing issues. So Axl went to them and was like, "Hey, like, I'll tour with you guys if you want. I would love to." Because he did what's that Rosie song? What's the AC/DC Rosie song?
Whole Lot of Rosie.
Whole Lot of Rosie. Like, he used to do that in GNR. So like. He's
a fan. Like, he's been a fan for a while.
Right. But I feel
like has a voice for it too, man. He definitely
does. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know you toured with him.
Yeah, you can go on YouTube and watch the videos. I mean, that
was like in the last couple years,
like 5 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's right before GNR, right around the time they were getting back together.
Mm-hmm. Can I do a humble brag real quick?
Sure.
Do it.
When I saw Billy Joel at Dodger Stadium, Axl Rose came out and they did Highway to Hell.
That's awesome.
No way.
It blew my shit up. I couldn't believe it.
I think you texted me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
That's some epic shit right there.
I win. Let's go to Ted. Ted, number 3.
My number 3 is actually a 5 dudes tie. I know that's like a new trend, and I have like a half tie, actually. So the two names of these their original birth names are Stanley Eisen and Chaim Witz.
Bless you.
It's Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons from Kiss.
There you go.
Yeah. A couple of New Yorkers, that's where they grew up.
They were New York.
Are you guys ready to rock and roll?
I mean, we've said a lot about Kiss, and still one of my favorite rock and roll bands of all time. I mean, they both work the stage. And I consider them both, frontmen, and
Definitely.
and they each bring like a different style. I think Paul Stanley brings it down, or is like a little bit more like the sexy side, the sexy songs, Love Gun, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, Gene is like the more fierce, fiery guy, breathing fire.
I know Ted's a big Kiss fan. I remember we were at, I think it was like the Halloween 2 premiere at the Man Chinese. Wasn't it Ace Frehley? I was like, dude, like I took your picture with Ace Frehley.
One of my idols for sure. It was so
to see the movie?
I think he was obviously at the premiere that Ted slept through, but we saw him outside.
Was that? I was just gonna ask. Is that the one that like Rob Zombie was in the row in front of you? Like,
it was a great night. I fell asleep on a movie and met Ace Frehley.
We were no, I'm not kidding. We were across the aisle from Rob Zombie and his wife, and the opening credits started, and I was like, "Hey Ted," and I looked over, dude. Hand, fist under his chin, asleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, wake up. You're at the premiere. Like the people are here. And he's like, I'm tired.
Well, the movie did suck.
It did. But hey, he got to meet Ace Frehley.
Ted he knew. He saw the future.
He did.
It was the best nap of my life.
I'll tell you, I love Ace Frehley, and without him in the band, it really does suffer because he does a lot of good stuff for the band. And, Brad and I saw him in what was that 96 when they reunited and they did the Psycho Circus tour, or maybe it wasn't Psycho Circus.
No,
I think Psycho Circus was like 98, 99.
Okay, they got back together again. Yeah, and I mean, like I love Kiss, and I just saw them a while back ago, and they still are fun to see. So many great songs, and those guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you hear rumors about how difficult they are to be around, but the other guys did have substance abuse problems. But I mean, they stood the test of time. A lot of people look up to them. They inspired a lot of people because of their theatrics and their sound, and they're still. I guess doing it for one more time. I don't know. I mean,
they're touring one more time. They're going to do it time after
reunion tour. So
did their never-ending tour end, or did the coronavirus end it?
They just keep touring. They call it the reunion tour.
I still love that Beth song.
Me too.
That's awesome.
Well, that's Peter Criss. That's a Peter Criss song.
Yep. I got a couple of just quick trivia things for you guys. So they met. Paul and Gene formed the band, and they met Ace and Peter through an ad in the back of the Rolling Stone. And then also, Paul Stanley has a deformed ear.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yep.
Like he was born with it, or had an accident?
Born. It's a birth defect.
Yeah, it's long hair.
But his long hair hides it, so he's
good. Yeah, we're good.
It's sexy.
Yep. Yeah. So that's my number 3, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons.
Which member? Have you seen the interview with Kiss when they were on Tom Snyder from like 1978 or something?
I think so.
Fraley. Fraley's fucked up.
Yeah, I love that. That's like an awesome interview.
Yeah, and like it's so funny because the other band members they're just like shocked. You can see it in their face. They're just like, "What is this dude doing?"
Yeah, I think they were kind of like, "What the fuck's going on? Like, what do we do now?" Like, it was like a train wreck.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel bad for those new guys who are portraying Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. They get so much like internet hate. It's like, you suck. We want Ace and Peter back. You're just
but they're not going to have it back. Yeah, nope. I mean, it's not their fault. Yeah,
I heard Peter Criss is so old he can't even play like a whole concert full of songs. So it's kind of an old guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of old guys, Brett, number 3.
Oh, dude.
All right, my number 3 hasn't been mentioned yet. It's probably going to be higher up on a couple of other people's lists. I know. Lead singer and songwriter for the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger.
Oh yeah.
He's one of the guys I still have never seen live.
Dude, you got to.
People you got to see. Yeah.
Better do it soon.
Yeah.
He is. He could have been my number 2 probably. I think the only reason I didn't pick him higher is because I've never been a huge fan of the Stones, like their music really. Like I like them, but I've never been a huge giant fan of theirs.
Me too.
But Mick Jagger, he's kind of like a poster boy for being a front man. Like he is the epitome of what a rock band's leader should be. I mean, he's theatrical, he dances, he's got high energy, he's always been a ladies' man.
Works the crowd.
Yeah,
works the crowd. He's very political. That's something we didn't talk about really yet, but a lot of lead front guys are like, they're very political and they speak their mind. He's always been one of those guys. So, and he's always dating, or married to women that are way younger than him now, and he's just he's a badass, and
he's the epitome of a frontman. Like that's who you see. If you look it up in the dictionary, he comes up, dude, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Who has not seen the Stones live?
Me.
I have not.
So George, Ted, have you?
Nope.
So Ted, oh wow, Ted, George,
just you and me have seen them.
Wow, dude. I mean, I would say next time they tour,
we should all go, dude.
Just
Seriously.
please, yeah. Like I'll definitely go. Like I just saw them at the Rose Bowl, and it's phenomenal. Like they're amazing. Still, they're just a great band.
Definitely.
Live.
Next time they play, we're gonna go.
I mean, it must be amazing to do a whole show and not even be able to do all your hits.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
Well, and then like honestly, like I look at Mick Jagger and I go, he's older than my dad, and he's running around the stadium.
He looks great. Did you see him?
It's
he was
insane.
on some sort of like benefit for coronavirus or something like that.
It was great, and dude, honestly, they were more inventive and original than newer acts. The way that they did their performance,
yeah,
and they sounded amazing, dude.
Yep,
like they deviate from the album recordings, like. Is that what you mean?
They did You Can't Always Get What You Want, and they did, like Mick was on guitar, and then they had like, the 4 boxes of like all the members, like Charlie was like air drumming, Ronnie's guitaring, singing along, Keith's up there with his glass of wine, like strumming his guitar. It was just really cool how they sunk it all together, and like it just felt fresh and original. And I'll say one thing, man, like listen to Mick Jagger's voice and then go back and listen to the original recording of Satisfaction. Not much has changed that much. Dude, it has not changed. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He definitely he's taking care of himself.
Yeah, he's got that fountain of youth.
He just had a heart operation a while back ago?
That's why they postponed that tour that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so stinky with his dances.
They're great, dude.
He dances like a chicken with his head cut off.
Have you ever seen that? You ever seen that SNL sketch with him and Fallon where they're looking in a mirror?
Yeah.
Or was that Mike Myers?
Oh no, it's him and Jimmy Fallon.
Dude, that's so funny. Yeah, do the point, and he's like pointing at each other.
I mean, dude, you have Lennon McCartney, you have Richards and Jagger. Like, what other like so successful singer-songwriter combinations can you have? Like, there's not many more like that.
Definitely not.
It's pretty mind-blowing to actually think like in those bands, 2 guys wrote such amazing songs.
Yeah.
And are still writing music. That I don't know.
Go ahead, Brad. I'm sorry.
Well, they just released Living in a Ghost Town during this whole pandemic. It was their first #1 hit in 40 years.
Wow.
It was #1 on iTunes. Like that's amazing to be able to do that and to be relevant in the kind of music that you're releasing right now.
Exactly what I was just going to say, Brad. They're still relevant to this day, and it's amazing.
I'll tell you what, though, man, there's always been that debate. I think it maybe Tarantino made it famous where it's like, are you a Stones man or are you a Beatles man? I used to always say I was a Stones man, but lately I feel like I'm a Beatles man.
I've always been a Beatles man.
I think a lot of people are Beatles. I go Stones they had more edge, man. I think Keith Richards said like, hey, we were the black hat. Like we had a little rough we're a little rough around the edges, and like I kind of go towards more in that in my rock music. Don't get me wrong. I'll get around to whoever this Beatles band is at some point. But man, for me, the Stones.
Yeah.
Well, it might also be. I think maybe the Stones have the upper hand in that because they're still around. Like the Beatles disbanded before all of us were born. So
yeah,
like,
I know McCartney still tours.
Yeah, and before Harrison died, he was still touring and stuff. But
yeah,
I think the reason why I always like the Beatles more, I think I was introduced to them first. Me
too.
I listened to the Beatles when I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And the Stones I didn't get into until I was older. I was probably a teenager, so maybe like 10, 11, 12. So I think that's partly why I didn't like him as much as the Beatles.
This is a little off topic, but not too much. I know Billy mentioned Little Richard earlier. I know the Beatles said like Little Richard and Elvis were like kind of the guys that like fueled them, to like start them, their inspiration.
All right, George, number 3.
All right, number 3 for me is the Prince of Darkness himself, ex-lead singer of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you say about this guy, dude? This guy is like the epitome of a front man. Like he's in your face. He's got like that harsh, thick British accent. He bites fucking bats. I mean, like, come on, man.
He snorts ants.
Sharon.
I mean, how many of you guys watched the Osbournes just to watch Ozzy Osbourne?
I did.
Oh yeah, that's all I did.
So good.
Oh my God.
I love that show when it was on.
I did too.
Yeah. I never actually got to see him live, but having MTV and growing up in that MTV era and watching those music videos and like Crazy Train and like it's unreal how like super talented this guy was. Like it's unreal just to even watch him now where he's like deteriorated and old and stuff, but you see all this like life this guy had and it's unreal, man.
Yeah, I was gonna see him a few years ago at the Bowl, and then he canceled, and then he's canceled his tour again. Like he's very sick. Yeah, he was for a while, but I mean, I remember as a child, I was like kind of scared of Ozzy Osbourne. Like in the '80s with MTV, I was kind of like, this dude's like his videos were like. Not like you look at them now, they're cartoonish, but like at the time, I was like, oh, this dude's kind of like, I don't want to watch this stuff.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like his early Black Sabbath stuff. You see that shit, and he's like wearing capes, and he's like dark, and you're like, holy fuck, what is this guy? Like a vampire? Like he had like this act, but it was like like Billy said, really scary, kind of dark. Like you didn't know where this dude was coming from. It's pretty crazy.
Well, it was not only the music videos, but the album covers. Like it's I think George had listed on his album covers thing one time, like Iron Maiden. Like to me, it's like Ozzy stuff's right up there with just like it was like is this dude a vampire?
Dark imagery or something,
Yeah,
he's the Prince of Darkness.
Yep.
I mean, as I got older, I didn't even know about Black Sabbath and early Ozzy, and I got into it. I mean, he's very distinct. His voice is like, it's him. He commands a stage. Like he's a rock god. And I mean, I loved No More Tears, that album. I mean, that I think he's still great. And like he's one of the last. Yeah, I mean, Ted was talking about Ronnie James Dio and a lot of these guys. These early metal pioneers who were like, they're not doing very well. They're getting up in years. It's going to be a sad day when Ozzy goes for sure.
Do you remember Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Do you remember Close My Eyes Forever with Lita Ford and him?
Yeah.
I used to love that song.
Yeah. It's one of the best ballads ever, man.
Oh, it's so cheesy but good.
That song, dude.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I used to love that.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I used to hold hands with girls and go around the skating rink and be like, yeah.
And I got the move.
Yeah, Ozzy's great, man.
Yeah. And it's like I said earlier,
how
how much he deteriorated, man. This like because you kind of grew up watching this guy like on MTV, you watched Osbourne the TV show, and now you look at him now and it's like it's pretty sad, dude.
I think he's got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And he's 71.
Man, is there a tornado in the distance?
Yeah, it's Dark Red Tornado.
Or is it Ted eating his spaghetti?
He's like a tornado.
When you watch the Osbournes, you could see early signs of Parkinson's even back then.
Yeah, he would shake.
Like he was shaky, and he was very like when he'd walk, he had that real like stiff like. His arms were kind of always at his side, kind of walk. That's usually a sign of like early Parkinson's. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just kind of attribute it to like, oh, well, all the partying and drinking that he did in, his early days.
That might have been that probably is what made him get Parkinson's, I'm sure. Brought it on.
If that's the case, then I'm fucked.
So is that toilet that just flushed?
What was that noise?
It's a motorcycle.
Well, it's like Black Sabbath. Like, there were these dudes who lived in like this very industrial, like steel town,
Birmingham,
and, like,
England. Yep.
And then they came out with this band called Black Sabbath, and their fucking songs were just like so metal, just like for their time. It's just like whoa, like these crazy songs.
Yeah, British steel town. I think Rob Halford's from Birmingham as well. Like good heavy metal came out of that town. I even like great music came out of that town. I think even synth pop came out of Birmingham.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, number 2 to me is Fred Schneider from the B-52s.
Wow.
Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby.
Oh, Shaq, baby.
And the podcast is over.
Lobster.
It's a repeat. It's Mick Jagger. I mean,
Nice.
you know, he's pretty good. You know, the guy's not bad. Not too
He's
shabby.
got the moves like Jagger.
Yeah, that's right.
What does that mean?
And you know, what else you need to say about him that hasn't been said already? He's pretty good. Brad, number 2.
From the lips to the hips, I've never seen a 76-year-old man dance on stage and perform like Mick Jagger. It's phenomenal. It is a sight to see. And like you guys said, if you haven't seen him, we will all go next time. Hopefully there is a next time. Hopefully there is a next time. We'll see. But yeah, he's not my number one. The guy I have is my number one. I never saw live, but this guy, like Mick Jagger, would be my number one if not for my number one. But yeah, God, he's great live. Obviously, he's there for a reason and still around.
Very relevant. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. That Mick Jagger.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Let's go, Ted, number 2.
My number 2 is Dave Grohl.
Oh, nice.
Really?
So, yep, number 2.
Number 2?
Yeah,
absolutely. But see, I don't think Billy's seen Foo Fighters live, man. They are amazing live.
So again,
They are fun live.
you know,
sure.
They opened up for the Chili Peppers years ago. They were all right.
I'll take it
right.
back to our top 5 concerts of all time, which it was one of my top 5 concerts at the Forum. It was just amazing.
We were there.
Yeah, we were both at that show.
I pulled you on the floor.
You did. You got me down on the floor. I had seats up in the rafters, and you got me down. So
Nice.
just amazing. Worked the crowd. Just a fun front man. I love that he was in 2 great iconic rock bands. Yeah.
Oingo Boingo and Foo Fighters.
Done.
Yeah, and he's a Valley boy.
Definitely. Yep.
I think he's originally from Virginia, but doesn't he live in like Northridge or
He's in Encino, and his studio is in Northridge.
Yeah,
It's called Studio 606.
Yeah,
pretty close.
I'll say like the cool thing about Dave Grohl, I feel like he's not pretentious. He is not afraid to play the hits. He cares about his crowd and his audience, and he's amazing live. Like he's got so much energy. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't take himself too seriously too. I like his sense of humor. It jives with
I
my
was
sense
just
of
about
humor.
to say, out of lead men, a lot of times they don't have, or at least not on stage, a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So he's different in that way, which I do like about him.
A lot of them are unapproachable and kind of assholes. Where this guy's, you could see he's very approachable, nice dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
he seems like a good dude, and like I have no problem with him. I just think this is like really like I don't know. It's kind of early for me to be like a of all time frontman like Dave Grohl. I don't think he's proven himself yet. I don't know.
I mean, I will say the cool thing about this podcast is it's 5 dudes and we all have views. It's like, why not? Like, let's have a guy who's a little,
I think Dave Grohl's got enough. Foo Fighters have been around 25 years now, and then obviously he was with Nirvana before that. But frontman of Foo Fighters for 25 years, I feel like he has a right to be in top 5.
Yeah, I think I like what he represents also in rock and roll. He's pretty down to earth, or he acts like it, and he's done stints with Tenacious D, and didn't he play with Queens of the Stone Age?
Played with Queens.
Yes.
He drummed for Tom Petty on SNL. I think Tom Petty actually offered him to join his band, and he turned him down and started the Foo Fighters. Which at the time he was like, "How do you ever turn down Tom Petty to be his drummer?" And I did.
Yeah.
Well, also one of the best bands that no one's ever heard of, called Them Crooked Vultures. He played drums. Josh Homme was the guitar player. John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin was the bass player. I mean, that was a super group, and that album is amazing. He also toured with Queens of the Stone Age on their first album.
Yeah.
Well, their hit album, Songs from Dead.
Yeah, he's a fan of the genre, which I like a lot, and just as a front man for me, he's up there. It's my top 5.
I get it. Yep. Do you remember the Everlong videos, kind of like the Evil Dead video?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun one. The Mentos commercial.
The Mentos one.
Video.
I like Pimentos better. Brett, number 2.
My number 2, I think it's already been mentioned at least 2 times. I think 3. It's Jim Morrison from The Doors.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I almost picked him number 1, but somebody else beat him to it. But almost, I want to say 1 and 2 are almost a tie for me, really. But I grew up with The Doors, like I said earlier, and Jim Morrison to me is just, he was like one of the earlier bad boys of rock, when rock was still fairly young, and
yeah,
really lived his life, just did not care and partied hard, and unfortunately he died, but he was a badass, and it shows, I think, in his music. And yeah, so Jim Morrison's my number 2.
Stronger than dirt.
Good one, dude.
Right. Well, Lizard King's representing this podcast.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. George, number 2.
Number 2's already been said by Brad, and that was Axl Rose.
Nice.
Again, come on, like as Brad was saying earlier, like this guy, like was the epitome of bad boy, had like all this stage presence, like didn't give a shit. Like Brad said, even call out the security guard and be like, all right, you know what? I'm out of here. My show's done. I'm fucking gone. And number 2.
Nice.
Axl Rose.
Axl. Well, you know what? My number 1, sometimes to be a great front man or front woman, you need a really rocking mustache.
Oh.
And this dude, he had one. And this guy was pretty great. I wish I could have seen them live. I was not born. I think maybe I was born. But I couldn't go to concerts when I was 3. Freddie Mercury.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, all the stuff that I've seen, all the songs. I mean, and also he was a guy. I feel like a lot of the people we've talked about, like they vocally can't hang after a certain point. The Axl Roses, the Mick Jaggers, the David Lee Roth, people like that. Like Freddie Mercury had pipes, and that dude could
for days.
Stop. Like the dude could belt it out, and like just hands down, one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life was that Live Aid performance.
Yeah.
And I know they had a movie came out about him, which was pretty good. And but man, all their videos, all their music. I mean, a great story. And he was when you think about a front man, a guy who can work a stadium, like a whole soccer stadium packed with people. That's powerful.
It's one thing to hit a high note, but he could sustain it. That's rare, especially for, I think, rock singers. A lot of them, they can hit that note, but it's real short lived. And he was able to he could hold it like pretty. Yeah.
He wore the tight jeans.
Well.
That's how he.
One thing one thing that's amazing about them is that sometimes a band will like get a one off on like a sports stadium anthem that goes on forever, like "We Are the Champions." But they also did "We Will Rock You," like 2 songs that will forever be infamous. Any stadium you go to, those songs play. People are like, "What is up?"
Yeah,
one song to me.
You're forgetting Fat Bottom Girls too.
Oh
yeah, right. Right. Well, that's
usually played.
Yeah, that's my ringtone. Oh yeah. All right. Well, he's pretty good too. Brad, number 1.
My number 1, I never saw. I would have given a lot to seeing this guy. He's the king of rock and roll. It's Elvis Presley. He is, to me, it's not really a true band per se, but he, to me, personifies the lead frontman. He's, to me, set the blueprint to all these guys. He was the first to be controversial and be shot from the waist up. This is another guy we talked about, Kurt Cobain. I really wished I could have seen past 77 what he would have done with his life and career if Colonel Parker would have been out of his life. But just charismatic and entertaining and could control a crowd and had a sense of humor, and man, what a great voice.
Are you excited about the movie they're doing?
Absolutely. The coronavirus Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
is Bob Lerman directing that one?
I think so.
Think so,
is,
yeah.
right?
And I can't remember the actor's name. It's the guy Tex from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's playing Elvis, and that kid's great.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, like I can't wait to see that movie. Tom Hanks is playing Colonel Tom Parker.
Wow.
And looks like
only gonna follow him like rising to fame,
his youth. I don't know. I mean, I know there's been, John Carpenter directed an Elvis movie. There was an Elvis miniseries. It's like, what direction do you take in that career? I don't know.
Yeah.
And they've been very tight-lipped about it. You haven't really heard anything about it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I know the estate is signed on, like Lisa Marie and everybody. So I mean, they should,
So it's
you know,
approved
should
by the
give them.
family.
Yeah, they should give like full license of music, which is good. So
That would be awesome.
yeah, it should be great.
It'll be cool to see also if like a younger generation like embraces Elvis and is exposed to him. You know, you might see a resurgence in like his popularity. You know.
Well, it's interesting you said that.
movie.
Yeah, I read some article recently on his estate, and it's like, how do you gain new fans? You know, it's like you can't say like, oh, we're going to celebrate the 80th birthday of the king, because that's not going to draw young fans in. Like, oh, who's this old dude? You know, you almost have to like celebrate the kind of music he did, or like his background or history, or like the problems that he faced.
Yeah, do a movie.
And do a movie and show all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean they did the Elton John movie and the Freddie Mercury movie, and I think that's
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
that opened up a lot of
music too.
people to
That's-
that music. So
Yeah, that's kind of I think the go-to thing. I'm still waiting for that Rick Astley movie.
Yeah, the Gerardo movie.
Yeah, Richard Marx movie.
shit.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Ted, the big one, number one.
My number one is gonna mimic off of yours, Billy. Freddie Mercury.
Yep.
So not too much to add. Just loved him as front man, amazing vocals, amazing band. Another one, Bites the Dust, is a great song. Their Flash song for the movie. Love that. Don't Stop Me Now is a great song. And
Crazy Little
again,
Thing Called Love.
Radio Gaga at Live Aid at Wembley was just amazing. Just anybody that hasn't seen it, go on YouTube and watch that performance.
Who took that name from the band?
Ricky Schroeder.
Funny.
So
Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Great performance. Great frontman.
I
And he
agree.
was sick. He was sick at the time. I think he was sick from AIDS.
He was already battling AIDS.
Yeah.
The last 4 years he was alive.
Do you feel like that movie kind of held back on like the raunchiness of that band?
I think so.
Yeah, it was definitely PG. Yeah. I thought so.
For sure. Still
I think when they announced it, they said they were gonna like kind of stay away from like his sexual life. Like,
Controversial.
yeah.
like
they
To
said
make
they
it
were
more
gonna steer
accessible,
away.
probably.
yeah, the real shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't want to
He
bring
was
up
a very private man in real life, so maybe that was also they just wanted to respect, like, even though he's dead, like, because he was super private in real life.
Yep. Great
Well,
frontman. So that's my number one.
I commend your choice. Brett, number one.
All right, my number one. It's already been mentioned. It's Freddie Mercury.
Yep.
Oh snap!
Queen. I love Queen. Always have. Always will. Freddie Mercury to me is he's number one. I mean, Jim Morrison. I kind of wanted to pick number one, but I was like Freddie Mercury just has him beat.
Yep.
I mean, Queen is like to this day. It's the songs and the albums still hold up. Like they were badass. Like good music.
Great rock and roll.
A lot of that is Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're all right. We're all right, except for Brad. George, number one.
Number one, again, same. The echo it keeps going, and it's Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
I wasn't too big on like his music. Like, I mean, I like "We Will Rock You" and the stadium jams or whatever you want to call it, whatever they're calling it. But after watching the movie, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, man, this guy.
He's a performer.
Definitely. Oh, he's 100%, dude. And like again, what Billy even said earlier, where he's got that voice and the dude's got pipes, man. Like to command, like you guys can really like command a fucking stadium. Like that takes like moxie. It's exactly what Billy said earlier. It's moxie.
Yeah.
But
Plus, I love that little like half microphone he rocked all the time.
It wasn't always the full. It was
that thing was awesome.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I mean, it's just like, a lot of their hits, like their songs will go on forever. And like, a lot of the bands that we did talk about, like a lot of their songs will go on forever. But like, it's crazy how like, you can command such a presence, and these songs are like, it must be amazing feeling to go out and like sing a song and like hundreds of thousands of people are singing along with you. Like, I wish I could do that feeling. I do sometimes when I take a dump. But
all the people crying.
Funny too. You go to a stadium or like a sporting event, and they'll play the song. The fucking crowd goes crazy, dude.
Yeah.
and everyone's just rocking to it. And
Yeah.
It's great.
you hear that instantly.
Man, well, we're all right. And Brad's wrong. All right, let's go honorable mentions.
Who's wrong? Who's wrong?
No one's wrong. Ozzy was mentioned by George. I think that's a good pick. There's a guy I saw, lead singer of the Hives. His name is Hallen Pell. I don't know what his name is, but he's a great. The guy did an amazing job live, and I've seen YouTube videos of him. He's great. He's a younger kid, so he's got some years to go. Paul Stanley was talked about. Axl was talked about. People that weren't talked about. Michael Hutchinson's from NXS. The guy had pipes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
He was a great lead singer. They've been airing a concert of his on Axis TV Live, and it's from Australia. So it's amazing. The guy had great songs too. Roger Daltrey from The Who. The guy had amazing pipes. They have great songs. They were great live, I'm sure. Bruce Springsteen. Brad and I did see him once years ago. And I mean, the Bruce Springsteen, that dude cared. He cares about his fans. Like, he puts on like 3-4 hour concerts. So
Yeah.
he's great. Eddie Vedder. I love Eddie Vedder. I love Pearl Jam. They're a great band. Glenn Danzig. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Misfits lately, and like Danzig is just like, that dude commands the stage. Like, he's the presence. And
He almost broke my list. He almost went into my top 5.
We've got to talk about Misfits.
Yeah, right. I would also say Hendrix. I mean, Hendrix was an amazing stage presence, I'm sure. Yeah. I would also say David Bowie and Elton John. Like, those guys are great. The two guys who almost made my list, one of which I've never seen before, Robert Plant. I'm sure back in the day, I wish I could have seen Zeppelin when they first came out, because I'm sure they were. I mean, I like Zeppelin, but I'm sure they were fucking like amazing back in the day.
Yeah.
And the guy who almost made my list, who I've seen a few times, is Bono. That dude is great. U2 is always a good time to see live, and he's a very engaging performer.
That's one of those bands I still haven't seen that I want to.
You should, man.
Did he like kick soccer ball to the fans and shit?
That's Rod Stewart.
That's Rod Stewart. Oh, you know what? Another guy I will mention. I've seen them in he does a few incarnations of bands. Is Maynard James Keenan. And I love the fact that, like, when he plays with Tool, he's not front and center. He's like behind and near the drummer in the background. I love that. I think that's a cool idea. He also
almost was my number 5.
He's not a front man.
Yeah. He almost definitely broke my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Brad, your honorables.
Prince was in my top 5, and I took him out because I don't think that he's true rock. I think he's a bunch of different things, kind of like James Brown almost made my list, but he's more like Godfather of Soul. Mm-hmm. So I guess my true honorable starts with David Lee Roth, Eddie Vedder, Bono, Scott Weiland, Steven Tyler, David Bowie, Dave Grohl, Ozzy, Paul McCartney, Jack White, Jimi Hendrix, Tom Petty, Freddie Mercury, Beck, Jack Black, which is awesome live, Debbie Harry, and Karen O.
Nice.
I have Karen O on my list too.
And Little Richard, obviously.
Yep. Ted?
I have Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson, Jeff Tate from Queensryche. I have Trent Reznor. Sammy Hagar is on my honorable mentions. Shut up. Mike Patton from Faith No More.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one.
I've got Shirley Manson from Garbage. Phil Anselmo, James Hetfield, Vince Neil, Zach De La Rocha. Joey Belladonna, let's see, Michael Ackerfeld, Jack Black, and Fergie.
What?
That can't be right.
Just
Are
kidding.
you joking?
Just kidding.
No, he's not.
I don't think he was.
I'm just making sure you guys are still awake.
Oh my god.
Oh Lord! All right, Brad.
It worked, Ted. It worked. We're awake.
Fergalicious death.
Brett.
All right, I've got a long list. Let's see. Dave Grohl was already mentioned. Bruce Springsteen, Ozzy Osbourne, Kurt Cobain, Axl Rose, Mike Patton, Trent Reznor, Robert Plant, Maynard. Someone's not mentioned. Oh, James Hetfield too. Les Claypool, Joan Jett, John Lennon, and Paul McCartney. I think they were basically both frontmen, co-leads. Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode, Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols. Anthony Kiedis, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Brian Johnson, AC/DC, Simon LeBone, Duran Duran, and Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. Oh, and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. George.
I'm just pretty much echoing everybody that you guys said. I'll add Gwen Stefani. Who else? Trent Reznor. Who else? There's a couple people that I put on here.
Bob D-Line.
I think that's it. I don't want to just keep mentioning everyone that you guys all mentioned because it's the exact same shit. But yeah, just off the top, those two.
Yeah, good stuff.
Done.
Well, I think we've said it all. And
we said it.
We said it. So I hope you're being safe, not touching your face, and practicing social distancing. And
wash your ass.
This is the end.
My only friend. The end. Stronger than dirt. Good night. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the 5 Dudes of Views podcast. Be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Libsyn, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and now YouTube. And while you're on there, be sure to download, rate, and subscribe. You can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter at 5 Dudes Views. And we also are on Facebook. Everybody out there, stay safe. Until next time.